Okay, so this is Andy Lee Graham, and I'm in Tel Aviv, Israel. It's January 31st, 2025. And in some ways, a little bit of the hostage problem with Israel is starting to be resolved, but I don't believe it's going to be resolved. But you can either be part of the solution or you can be part of the problem. And I've been getting kind of negative in my mind about what's happening here. And it's easy to, target fixate on problems in the, not problems, but the reason why people should be angry at each other, okay? And it's really easy to see why somebody would be angry at the Palestine people. It's real easy to see why people would be angry at the Israeli. But I'm not going to go into that, even though I took a lot of notes on that. Because sometimes a well-defined problem is half the solution. But I'm going to talk about 15 different concepts that I believe is the solution to this situation. And I had a GoFundMe page. I got a couple $1,000s to come here, and with the goal of trying to interpret what's going on in a honest and fair way. And very difficult because you have anger and frustration at both sides of the issue, right? This is not a simple situation. This is like in a way, I would still call it part like the Crusades in a way. This is a religious war, okay? And everybody can deny that all they want, but I'm not going to get into that. There's this mythical belief that one day Palestine people and the Israeli people, or the Muslims and the Jews, will agree, and maybe the Christians. I don't know if the Christians are really involved in that this much, but they do get their nose involved. They get their nose in this thing. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 15 different principles or ideas that would help together to end this war. And some of it's just common sense, okay? And one of the common sense that they should do is that they got to stop acting like one day the Israelis and the Muslims are going to suddenly agree. That's the biggest dysfunctional thing of this whole war, is that there's some belief that they can come to an agreement that will be respected. Okay, but let's talk first one about a topic that comes up a lot, the two-state solution. And this is kind of an example of the problem. They've been negotiating this two-state solution where you have two countries, and for years, and they always act like it. The truth is, you don't have to have two countries agree to have two states. All they got to do is separate and say, we're over here and you're over there, and here's the boundary, and that's all you got to do. And this is what they're not doing. Okay, they're not making it into two states. They're somehow trying to share something. It's a little bit creepy because it seems like the elites are wanting this war to happen. Okay, number two, this is again part of the two-state thing. Right now, the Jewish people do not enter the Palestine areas of Gaza or the West Bank, but the Palestine people enter the Israeli Jewish part. Absolutely insane situation, okay? Because it's like all these double standards, and common sense would say the simple solution is when you have two children that are fighting, you put them apart and you don't let them talk to each other. And what they continually want to do is this mythical idea that we're going to agree, and that is the essence. So all they got to, in my opinion, they should not allow the Palestine people to come into the Jewish people. Jewish part, and this is a Jewish state. Okay, this is like Pakistan. That's an Islamic state. This is a Jewish country, and the laws control a lot of the stuff. I mean, you don't work on the Saturday, the Shabbat. There's all sorts of overlay of religion, and they're trying to pretend that this doesn't happen, which is thing. But in my opinion, you got to say, we're a Jewish state. Everybody that's not Jewish, leave. That's all you got to do. Okay, and they've kind of done that by having the West Bank and Gaza. But on the other side is they always have these exceptions to the rules, and that's the excuse that causes the war. Number three, friends talk to strangers. There's a cultural problem here that there's not a, and I push this a lot on my videos. The Israeli people don't feel any compulsion to say hello to people. They don't feel any necessity of being friends or whatever. And this, to me, they should. This is the only thing I'm going to talk about how the Israeli people could change. And it's hard to attack each other when you're being friends. And that normal kind of non-tribal way of dealing with it. This is a tribal country. This is a very extreme tribal country. They are part of their tribe, and there's no intermarriage, blah, blah, blah. And they are separated, and they make you know that, okay? And this is the only sociological type of change that I would recommend. But they got to learn that talking to each other is a better idea than to ignore each other. Number 4, and this is a guy from, let's see, I think he's from Miami, a Jewish guy. He says that the foolish Jews inside the United States got to stop sending money here, as if there's a need for the money to do it. Because what is fueling this war is, on both sides, is people are sending them money so they have money to fight. And instead of letting it just naturally sit, they promote the war by sending money. Okay, and so there's money sent by rich Jewish people inside the United States. On the converse, the European and all the 400 million Arabic states or whatever have to stop sending money too. So if, in a way, this war is about follow the money. Okay, it's a money-making machine. Okay, but the money-making will end if the war stops. All the aid organizations, they started, the United Nations, whatever, just got made illegal or something in Israel. They just did this the other day. And they've been defining these people as refugees for 70 years. And that is just lack of common sense, right? You have to admit an end thing and cessation. But the number one thing with aid organizations is they're never going to solve the problem. That's not their goal. Their goal is to keep the problem going because they make money that way. So, but the American Jews did. Number 6, and this is what Donald Trump is sort of doing right now. He earmarked that Jordan and Syria and all these countries should be taken, Egypt should be taken in the Palestine people from Gaza. And I realized this in 2004 when I was here. There's only 2 ways to end this situation. One is to kill all the people in Gaza, or to get them to move to another country. And so, but I've been mentioning this to think, in a way, all they got to do is keep this war going on in Gaza for forever, and eventually all the people will leave. And one way or the other, you make it an untenable situation for living. So to keep the war going, okay, stop acting like it's going to. I don't believe it's ever going to stop. Okay, I don't believe that. That's just kind of a mythical idea that somehow you're going to get these 2 people that have hated each other to suddenly love each other. It's religious. It's a zealot sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, Israelis are just as guilty as the Palestine people. Number 8, they got to stop being the chosen people, whatever that means. And I've been trying to understand that. But this idea that you're the chosen people and somehow you have superior rights, this is it's like being, it's like the Nazis or something like that. And anytime you take and elevate yourself as to be the chosen person, there's some problems, okay? And this concept is addressed, and my Christian friends do it. They said the Israelis are the chosen. I don't know what that means, and I don't think the goal is to cause separation, because separation and confusion confusion is like the devil's best friend. The devil wants 2 people to fight, okay? And that's what happens because of somebody's a chosen people. Number 9, which is a strange one, I thought about this years ago. The Muslims don't have Islamic religion don't have a pope. Okay, they don't have like a Catholic pope, and it would be really nice if they would somehow get together and elect somebody as a spokesperson for the planet. As we have the Catholic pope, it would be nice if they had the Islamic pope. Number 10, you gotta identify the money. You got to follow the money. You got to find the profiteers of this war. And the military-industrial complex in the United States is making a lot of money on this, and they're making a lot more on the country of Ukraine. So they got to stop the profiting of war. Then that's one reason why Donald Trump's real good. He doesn't want to profit from this war. He also doesn't want to lose money from this war, which is there's two ways to look at it. Either you're making money or you're losing money. But the military-industrial complex and the press and the aid organizations are all making a fortune. And I thought about making one specific video on just how you make money with the war. But aid organizations are causing, to me, they're the biggest organization, the money-making organization on the planet. If you put them all together, the USA, GIZ, all these things, World Vision, all these things, this is the biggest exchange of money that only doesn't solve problems. Okay, very seldom do they actually solve a problem. The first thing they do when an aid organization enters a country is they build a building because they're never leaving. Okay, but they have to stop the profiting. And if you look at this war as a profit-making situation, then it takes a different turn instead of looking at it like a religious war. Everybody wants to call it they don't even want to call it a religious war. It is a religious war, but they want to call it just an argument or something. Everybody doesn't have the common sense to see what this really is. It's a money-making war, and the Israelis get donations from the rich Jews in the United States and the other people on the planet, and Eastern Western Europe is sending money to the Palestine people, and if they end the war, all this money ends. Okay, number 11, they got to stop hiring people from other countries. They did sort of switch from using, one of the problems here, is they're using the Palestine people as labor. And it's like the United States problem of using Mexicans or Guatemalans or something to harvest vegetables or something. It caused a problem. Same problem in Dubai. Dubai is bringing in all these Nepalis and Philippines and different people to do all their labor, and this is an insane move. Okay, because what it does is it dilutes the culture, and it changes the culture, and it makes you have all these exceptions to a clear and simple country. So they got to stop hiring people from other countries to work as labor. That seems like a drastic move, but somebody could actually, do their own babysitting and au pair and all these different things instead of hiring people from other countries to do this. But it's about making money. Number 12, which is really funny, is the Hasidic or the ultra-Orthodox there's a double standard here. They don't have to go to war. They don't have to fight in the battles. They don't have to do it. This is not a democracy country. This is not being ran as a country where if you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hasidic, you don't have to be in the thing. And this is the injustice of what they consider justice. Okay, this has to stop. They have to make everybody equal in the country, and that's the way democracies work. Is everybody's equal. From the smallest to the richest, everybody has the same rules. And they're not. There's none of the rules are being done the same here in Israel. Number 13, they have. I think Nicaragua did this. They outlawed aid organizations, and I really do believe that if I was the owner of a country, because a lot of people own countries, I would outlaw any aid organization. One thing is they define the country as a problem. And there's volunteers here. So this is in the Human Development Index, this is number 25. So it's not a poor country even slightly. And it's highly developed, and it's like New York City with a beach. I mean, Tel Aviv is full of high-rise condos. But to me, they should outlaw all all this money coming from aid, NGOs, and things, because an NGO is an activist. They are more of an activist than they are a solution. They want to define a problem so they can make money, and it's a business. Okay. Oops, I had number 14, I guess, and maybe I repeated it. Extend Gaza war until they leave. You can have a two-state solution real easy. All Israel's got to do is put up a border, say everybody out of here, everybody in here, and separate. It's not fun, but it's a solution that works and it's functional. And so you put two boundaries and you force it. I went into Bethlehem and I spent 7 days, which is part of the West Bank, and it's just a porous border. There is so easy to cross over and cause problems within the Israeli area. So the Palestinian people have complete leisure to come in and bomb people. But again, what's the money? Follow the money. Okay. Here's the funny one, which maybe make Donald Trump laugh. And sometimes the Israelis, I didn't learn this. I mean, I didn't come up with this myself. I was taught it, I don't know, about 20 years ago. Make Israel the 51st state. And that would make it so that maybe the Arab countries like Iran and stuff could finally believe they're never going to win this war. And because there's an idea, there has to become a point where where it becomes hopeless that it's going to change. And this is the delusional part of this whole war, is that the delusional part is after 75 years or something, they're going to suddenly stop being the country of Israel, and that they don't have the right to exist. And that is some highly dysfunctional thing. Okay, Andy Lee Graham, I'm here and you're not, why not? I've been in 115 countries. I've been doing this for 26 plus years. And I'm going to Africa pretty soon, but those are my 15 concepts that can do it. And I could come up with more and stuff, but it's never going to work as a singular thing, except maybe the two-state solution. And it's kind of amazing that they act like they have to agree to this, okay? When the West, in the Civil War, when the South, segregated from the North, they just did it. They didn't sit there and say, and the North fought to get them back. But see, it's all about money in a lot of ways. And, but here, they act like they want to get apart, but they don't really want to get apart. So there is your two-state solution, which would be the start of everything, is just to say, you're on that side of the frontier and I'm on. A lot of people get real angry at country borders, but there's a reason for a state border, there's a reason for a country border, in French they call it a frontier, frontera in Spanish, because two cultures are not getting along. And that's how you solve this problem, is separate the people. Common sense. But will they separate? A lot of people like to be part of it. And in a lot of ways, in the sense of holiness, holy people want harmony and unholy people want confusion. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Tel Aviv.